Hey everybody, I had a request from one of the videos I did recently to show how you go in and set up My Mode on the dash. I'm going to show you how to set up My Mode as well as my color and my gauges. So the three options to totally customize what you're looking at in front of you on the 2020 Shelby GT500. Right now I'm in the garage, as you can see. It's dark outside, so we're going to start the car up and get it outside and look at the lights, the instrumentation lights that are in front of you. You know, not all these features are available when you're in accessory mode, so that's why I got to get the car running. And if you didn't know how to get the car in accessory mode, instead of putting your foot on the brake and pressing the start button, that's how you start this car normally. You simply just push the start button without your foot on the brake, and that gets the car kind of like the old style turn your key forward 1 detent, getting you in accessory mode. That puts your car in accessory mode, and you can select a lot of the different things on the dash, but not everything's available when the car is not, you know, when the engine's not running, so to speak. So we're going to get this thing fired up, get it outside in the dark, and run through the different modes and options. And if you stick around to the end of the video, I'll show you a little fun driving bonus footage. But here we go. Okay, so we got the car outside. I've got it running. We're currently in normal mode with the mode switch over here, and I've got it in quiet exhaust so I can talk, and very little exhaust noise right now in the cabin. But we're going to walk through the displays and how to set up a My Mode as well as my colors. So this all starts with the Cobra button on the steering wheel. You hit that and you'll bring up your menu, toggle up to the top there, you'll see My Mode. Hit that. You hit and fill in the square of Add My Mode and then Show Status. So if you notice, we're back at the normal gauges because that's what I had on the last option. And then down here at the very bottom it says hold OK to save as My Mode. And then it gives us all of the options. So right now we're in normal mode, launch controls off, normal suspension, normal steering, quiet exhaust so I can talk, and the advanced track is set to normal. So right now, just using the normal gauges, I can change things like suspension right here and steering, which is on the steering wheel control button. So if I hit the suspension, you'll see that says normal. I can hit it again and it goes to sport. And then as you look down here in the options, it says sport suspension. Same thing when I hit the steering option here. It'll come up and it'll say normal steering, hit it again, and there's sport steering. And then on the upper right under steering, it says sport steering right now. If you look underneath sport steering, it says quiet exhaust. So I can come down here to my exhaust toggle right here, and as I hit that, you'll see, let's see if I can move this closer, you'll see that change. Quiet, there's normal, sport, track, nice and loud. I'm gonna hit OK on the steering wheel, and now underneath sport steering it says track exhaust. Same thing with the advanced track, the traction control. To change that option, we have a traction control toggle right down here. I can hit that, and you're gonna see advanced traction control off. I'm gonna hit OK. And now as I'm setting up My Mode, this is what it's gonna default to. So right now I could just press and hold the OK button on the steering wheel, which is right here, and I could lock that in as My Mode. So I'm gonna press and hold that, and it says saving, there it is, and it's saved. Now as I toggle through the different modes down here, the different driving modes, you're gonna see My Mode, because that's what I was in. So there's sport, I didn't give the chance for the gauges to change. There's track, and you're gonna see drag strip, which has the same tachometer across the top, and slippery, which goes back to basically traditional or normal gauges. And then we're in normal mode, and you can see all the options in the middle. We have normal handling, launch controls off, normal suspension, I guess that's the Magna Ride. Normal steering, normal exhaust, and advanced track is normal. So then when I toggle one more time to go to my mode, right there, you're going to see all those options that we had preset. It says for track use only, see manual. And right now we have sport suspension that we selected. We have sport steering. We have track exhaust. And actually this advanced track went back to normal. I guess that didn't save. But we'll play with different settings. I like the sport gauges setup. So I'm going to hit the Cobra button again. I'm going to go to my mode. And I'm going to hit, let's see, I'm going to toggle my mode, show status. And now I'm going to toggle the modes here to show me the sport gauges. There's normal, my mode, sport. Okay, so there's our sport gauges. And if you see it at the bottom here, it still says, here, let me move the camera in closer. It still says hold OK to save as my mode. So we're gonna set up all these options right now. So right now we're in sport, let's see, so launch controls off, sport suspension, sport steering, and sport exhaust. I'm gonna hit the exhaust button down here to change that to track. And we want track, there's track. I'm gonna hit the OK button on the steering wheel. That option changed, and advanced track is in sport, which gives you a little bit more leeway than normal. And by the way, track, advanced track, when you're in track mode, it says advanced track off, but that's not true. It just gives you a lot more lateral yaw ability, but it's still there to reel you in if you get completely out of shape. So to set this is the way I had my mode set up previously, and I'm just returning to that. So we have the gauge cluster at the top is in sport. Launch control is off, but you can still use launch control in drag strip mode. We have sport suspension, sport steering, track exhaust, and advanced track is set to sport mode. So I'm going to press and hold the OK button on the steering wheel, and that's going to lock in this as my mode. So I'm going to press and hold it right now, and you're going to see at the bottom, saving. So now, as I toggle through the modes down here, you're going to see there's sport because it's the same gauge cluster setup. And then we go to track, which you're going to see the big tack across the top. I'll hit OK, just get rid of that prompt. And then we switch over to drag strip, which looks very similar, but that allows you to do launch control just by simply, well, right now launch control says unavailable because we're in park. But drag strip is you know, it nails the shifts at 7,500 RPMs, and it allows you to use launch control by putting your left foot on the brake and right foot on the gas. And then we'll go over to slippery. That goes back to your normal gauge cluster. Then we'll cycle around one more time to normal. This is basically the beginning of the round robin menu. And then we should see our saved my mode with the sport gauge cluster right there. And it says for track use only because we have it in track exhaust. So that's how you go about setting up a my mode. So again, just to reiterate, you got to hit the Cobra button. You go into my mode at the top, you hit OK, and you're going to hit an add my mode and then show status, and then you basically go around selecting options. Like first of all, you'd want to set what gauge cluster you want by changing the modes. Then you can change the suspension, steering, exhaust, and then you got to press and hold OK to save it. And we'll now take a look at my colors, which we'll do here right now. Alright, after you hit the OK button on the steering wheel in my color, you're going to have a primary and a secondary color. So primary color, we'll set to orange, and then secondary color we'll set, let's see, we'll set that to blue. How's that sound? And then you hit back, and there we have orange and blue. All right, so now let's hit the Cobra button. We'll go into my color, okay. Let's try create my color. I'm gonna hit okay. And then on the left circle there, number 1, I am dialing basically down. And you can see here, let me get a little closer with this. You can see the color wheel turning there as I'm toggling. So let's go something, how about in the violet range or so. Let's have that one. I'm gonna hit okay. And number 2, we're toggling up this time to go clockwise. Let's try, how about a green? I'm gonna hit okay. My color 3, we can, let's go yellow. How's that sound? We're right in there. I'm just grabbing random colors to see how these work. Hit okay. All right, I'm gonna hit back out of that. We now have a my color 1, 2, and 3. I am going to go to primary color, okay. And I'm gonna select my color 1 for primary color. That's the violet I just created. Secondary color, I'm gonna go to my color 2. And that is the green I just created. So I'm gonna back out, and there is violet and green. And again, we had that my color 3 we could use too, so I'm gonna hit the Cobra button on the steering wheel, my color, primary color. Let's go to my color 3 and get that yellow. And I'm gonna hit back. Okay, each time I get out of this, I hit the back on the steering wheel right here. So I hit back, back, and that takes me to the gauge cluster that shows the different colors. So yeah, this digital dash is fabulous. You can set just a wide range of almost limitless different color combinations and see whatever the heck you like. But yeah, very neat, especially at night here. I'll turn off the lights. I got my dome lights on right now so you can see. But here we go at night. Kind of a neat light setup there. All right, next one is gonna be how to set up the center gauges. All right, I changed my colors back to primary, I think it was red, and secondary blue, or vice versa. And we're going to hit the Cobra button on the steering wheel. That's going to take me into my options here, gauges, okay. And then I'm gonna toggle down on the steering wheel to configure my gauges and hit okay. And this is the option I have 3 X's already, and you can only have 3. So right now, because I have 3, these other ones are kind of grayed out, if you will. Let me move a little bit closer so you can see better. So right now I have air fuel. So I'm going to deselect air fuel, and you're going to see the other ones get white as options because I only have 2 then. So I deselect that one. Now I can select axle oil temperature, cylinder head temperature, engine oil pressure, engine oil temp. I've got inlet air temperature already preset as one of my gauges. I could do manual charge temp, trans oil temp, vacuum boost, which I already had selected, and voltage. So let's just select 3 different ones here that I didn't have selected before. So I just have the last 3. I have trans oil temp, vacuum boost, and voltage. And actually I had that one selected. Let me select a different one here. So there's manifold charge temp. All right, hopefully I'm holding this camera so you can see it. And then I'm gonna hit the back out button on the steering wheel, which is this, on the left side here, back out. And that's going to take me back up to my gauge cluster so I can see the gauges that I selected. And there they are, the 3 in there. Now, if I only selected 2, let's go back into gauges, figure my gauges. I'll deselect one of them. And if I go back, now I only have 2 shown there. And actually, if I don't select any of them, if I deselect all of these, I am not gonna have any gauges in the middle. Just like that. It's gonna be a clean slate. Me personally, I like to run, let's see, configure gauges. I like to have air fuel ratio, toggle down to inlet air temp, and the last one being vacuum boost. And I get back out of those, and And there are my 3 gauges that I have selected in the colors that I have selected, my colors. So those are my gauges. Actually, this is my mode, my colors, and my gauges. There you go. All right, now that we have the 3 gauges shown in the middle, we're gonna show our different options. You don't always have to have the gauges in the middle. Again, this is just an LCD computer screen, so you have options of what gets displayed in there. But on the right side of your steering wheel right here, you have your OK, your back out of the menu, return button, your voice activated prompt, and then you have up and down toggles. So let's look at what happens when I hit the up and down toggles. So right now, those are my gauges. I hit the up, and there is my lateral, G, as well as braking acceleration. And looks like I've had 1.05 braking and 0.89 acceleration, 0.57 left, and 0.46 right. I can press and hold OK to reset this. I'm just gonna leave that in there because I'm toggling through to show you different options. So I toggle up one more time, and again, I'm using the up button on the steering wheel on the right side here. And that is more of a digital readout versus the gauge, analog gauges of what I have selected. It actually gives me, let's see, an MCT temp too. I guess that's maybe a transmission temp, possibly. I haven't looked that one up. And then there's a bunch more. These I guess are all the options just digitally listed out versus in gauges. And back to my gauges. There you have it. So again, this is my mode, which is our sport cluster that we set up using the different options on the steering wheel and the buttons down here on the center console. I have my color, which I have set up in the by hitting, all these are done through the cover button, and then my gauges as well. Hopefully that was informative. And now a little bonus footage of some spirited driving. Got the car tucked away back safely in the garage. Hopefully you found this video informative. It's how to set up my mode, my color, and my gauges. Basically to completely customize the screen that's in front of you in the 2020 Shelby GT500. It's a feature-packed car with a lot of options, and with that you gotta learn some new tech. So hopefully this video helps some of you guys figure it out. Thanks for watching. See ya. Second bonus in the dark garage. One of the neat features of the Tech Pack, the Tech Pack has quite a few features, but one of the very cool features is puddle lamps. So I've got the key fob in front of me. I'm gonna hit the unlock button, and there on the floor on both sides is the Cobra Snake puddle lamp, and that comes out of the mirror and shines down on the floor. And when you go to open the door, yep, that snake stays lit, and it comes out because the mirror is coming out there. But kind of a neat little feature, and that'll stay lit for a while, and then it disappears. Tech package on the 2020 GT500.